Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're wrestling with a source stack that, well, it really pushes the boundaries.
It does.
It's not your standard set of research papers. What we have is this dizzying array of very assertive personal notes, text messages even,
And they're all designed by the source to convince you of one thing, that there's a hidden, absolutely critical pattern unfolding right now.
across history and technology.
Exactly. It's an extraordinary blend of convictions. The material connects ancient prophecy eschatology, the study of the end times, with the absolute frontiers of modern particle physics.
Like Roman history.
And a really meticulous analysis of the Roman Empire. I mean, these are three subjects you just don't see on the same syllabus.
No, let alone in the same predictive model. So our mission for you today is to unpack these arguments. We're going to follow the source's logic path.
And it is a path.
It is. We start with the subtle global claim of frequency decay. Then we move to the high-tech side, to the world's most powerful particle collider,
And finally, we land on a historical prototype.
the Emperor Nero Caesar.
And we have to start by just acknowledging the tone here. The sources come with this overwhelming seal of approval, insisting the insights, which came from the father figure in the material,
Right.
were based on a divine level of knowledge, that's a direct quote, and that they were 100% right.
Dead on point is another one.
Exactly. That confidence is maybe the most important feature. It tells you the person who wrote this believes these patterns aren't just coincidence.
No, they're proven. And their whole job here is to explain how that pattern works.
What's fascinating to me is how the sources treat this idea of the end of days. It's not a feeling, or a moral panic.
It's presented as something observable.
An observable physical reality you can actually track.
Okay, let's unpack that. Let's start with the first big assertion. We are in the end of days. Now, that's a common religious idea, but the source immediately tries to pivot away from, just emotion. How do they argue it's observable?
They introduced this concept called spiritual physics.
Spiritual physics.
Yeah. The material insists the world's decline isn't about, say, simple morality shifts. It's something you observe through specific energetic patterns.
Okay, so it's a framework, one that claims the collective spiritual state of the world has a measurable vibration or frequency.
Precisely. We're dealing with an esoteric claim that's trying to quantify the metaphysical.
So what happens when this vibration decays? How does that actually show up in the world?
According to this model, it manifests as chaos. The lower the frequency, the higher the social, the political, the spiritual volatility.
So it's not just about personal piety.
Not at all. It's about a global energetic coherence that's degrading. And the sources are very explicit about right now. They say, quote, the world's vibration IS dropping in many areas.
So that drop is the signal. It's the underlying environmental condition that validates their whole prophecy.
It's the countdown clock, even if the tools to measure it aren't, standard scientific equipment.
Right. And it establishes the context of what comes next. The idea is that the energetic barrier between dimensions is weakening.
Because the world's internal frequency is plummeting.
Okay, so with that established, this global environment of energetic decline, let's pivot to the next claim. Because the sources argue there's a direct physical high-tech response happening.
Right, happening in that very same weakening environment.
A large hadron collider.
And this is where the synthesis gets, truly wild. It's a hard transition from these esoteric claims right into the activities of CERN.
The European Organization for Nuclear Research in Switzerland.
That's the one, which operates the LHC.
For anyone who might need a refresher, the LHC is the most powerful particle accelerator on the planet. Famously confirmed the Higgs boson, the so-called God particle. But according to these sources, what is the LHC really doing when it's smashing particles together at nearly the speed of light?
Well, the standard answer, the peer-reviewed purpose, is fundamental physics.
Yeah.
Understanding the building blocks of the universe.
But that's not what the source says.
No, the source material claims the deeper hidden purpose is, well, it's far more controversial and intentional. It states, flatly, that the smashing isn't just to find particles, it's designed to open dimensional gateways.
And pull data from other realms.
Yes, that's a quote.
That is a monumental claim. That CERN's main goal is opening dimensions, not physics. What do the sources say about all the years of peer-reviewed data supporting the standard model?
It basically dismisses it, calls it a cover story. The sources insist that, yeah, finding the Higgs boson was successful, but it was just a side effect of the real objective.
And they're not shy about it.
Not at all. They say, and I'm quoting here, This is real, not conspiracy fact. For the source, this whole high-tech operation is an attempt to speed up the breakdown of that dimensional barrier.
Which is already weakening because of the frequency decay we just talked about.
It connects everything, the energetic decay and the technological intervention.
And to back this up, to validate this extraordinary claim, the source pulls in an outside voice, a pretty big one.
It does. It specifically quotes the late theoretical physicist Stephen Hawking. The material highlights an alleged warning from him that CERN may open a door to another dimension.
And the source doesn't present this as just a curiosity, right? It's proof.
It's critical external proof that validates the father's original insight.
Because the sources claim the father knew this was CERN's goal before people were talking about it.
And that, in their view, is the definitive evidence of his prophetic discernment. He saw the threat before it was public knowledge.
So you have this powerful conceptual bridge, a physical machine trying to breach dimensions.
At the exact moment the world's spiritual infrastructure is degrading, this creates the perfect context for the emergence of the figure from the prophecies.
Which brings us from physics and prophecy straight into ancient Roman history.
To complete the loop.
The sources pivot from CERN's gateway goal to identifying the historical prototype of the Antichrist spirit.
Exactly. The source says the Father knew who the Antichrist is, or at least the spirit that inhabits that role. And he connects that pattern directly to Nero Caesar.
So this historical analysis becomes the template. It's the pattern of power and behavior we're supposed to be looking for today.
Let's talk about Nero. Roman emperor, reigned from 54 to 68 AD. The source stack immediately points to the numerical connection.
The 666 number.
Noting his name allegedly translates to 666.
How did they get to that number?
Well, the sources reference gematria. It's an ancient system that assigns numerical values to letters in a name. The traditional Latin or Hebrew spellings of Nero Caesar, when you transliterate them, can sum up to that specific number.
A detail the source treats as a non-negotiable proof.
Yes, but they stress that the number is just the beginning. It's Nero's actions that really solidify his role as a template.
So what are the key acts of evil that the material points to, the ones that set this prophetic pattern?
The list it's brutal, and it's specific, and it's all designed to reinforce his self-proclaimed divinity. The sources list the persecution of Christians, obviously.
Torturing and killing them publicly.
Publicly, yes. And the infamous act of setting Rome on fire in 64 AD, and then blaming the Christian community for it.
The level of persecution detailed is pretty essential to the source's point here. I mean, the material notes he literally used Christians as human torches to light his garden parties.
It does, and it emphasizes the scale, too. It notes some historians estimate the death toll under his rule was in the hundreds of thousands.
It's necessary context, because the source is trying to establish a precedent for this unparalleled cruelty, fused with political power and self-worship.
Right. The material calls Nero evil, but also symbolic. He represents the first historical case where government power was used specifically to fulfill that Antichrist template.
Which leads to their final, crucial designation for him.
Yes. Nero is designated as the first government-level Antichrist spirit. He wasn't just another tyrant.
He institutionalized the opposition.
He institutionalized it. He set the historical and symbolic pattern for what the source claims is going to reappear.
Okay, so that brings us to the final synthesis point, which is all about imitation. The sources claim Nero didn't just persecute Christians. He tried to mimic everything Jesus did.
And that mimicry is the central intellectual maneuver here. It's not enough to just be an opponent. The Antichrist has to be a perfect false reflection.
A parody.
A parody. The sources assert this pattern of imitation is exactly what the Bible says the Antichrist will do. Set up a parallel but destructive narrative.
So what are the specific points of parody that the source material lists?
There are several points of direct mimicry. They're all designed to sort of usurp the role of the Messiah. Yep. So claiming divinity for himself is number one.
Demanding worship.
Demanding worship from everyone and aggressively creating this false savior image of himself. He had songs and temples dedicated in his honor. He was actively trying to replace the true object of worship with himself.
And the source material even drills down into the chronology, which I found really striking. The father points out a specific comparison around the age of death.
Yes, and this is a detail the source treats as highly significant. It shows just how meticulous they believe this symbolic pattern is. The sources note that historical accounts vary a bit, but they generally place Nero's death at age 30 or 31.
And that's compared directly to Jesus dying at age 33.
Right.
Why is that small difference, that close proximity in age, so important to the argument? What does it suggest?
It suggests the spirit of the Antichrist is obsessed with matching, but ultimately failing to reach perfection. The source's interpretation is that the Father pointed this out because the Antichrist tries to match the Christ in every detail.
Even the span of his life.
Even that, to consciously parody the life of Christ. The imitation isn't random. It's deliberate down to the year.
That's a remarkable synthesis of information. We've really traveled across some immense conceptual territory today.
We have. We followed the source's logic path without deviation. We started with that subtle, global drop in frequency.
The spiritual physics of decline, creating a vulnerability in the dimensional barrier.
Then we moved into the high-tech pursuit of exploiting that vulnerability at CERN, using particle smashing to try and open gateways.
And we tied that entire mechanism back to the meticulous historical pattern found in Nero Caesar, using numbers, historical cruelty, and most importantly,
The systematic intention to parody and substitute himself for the Christ figure.
the unifying theme through all of it is the source's assertion of a hidden, undeniable pattern. One that connects the global energetic state, specific modern technology, and precise historical chronology.
It's a narrative that's designed to feel seamless, undeniable.
So the sources connect spiritual patterns, theoretical physics, and this meticulous historical chronology right down to the age of death to form a single dramatic prediction about the forces at work in the world today. And this raises, I think, an important question for you. When you see diverse fields of knowledge synthesized like this, used to construct a unified prophetic pattern, how do you determine where profound insight ends and where sheer pattern matching begins?